Terry, we want to have some fun because we want to know the details, behind all the different things. And so we're going to do a little speed round. Maybe first thought, first word that comes to mind.
Okay.
Commanders have the 7th pick of the upcoming draft. Should they draft offense or defense?
I think we're in a very unique situation. I think we could go best player available. I think we've done a really good job in free agency so far. When you get the top 10 pick, I think another receiver, Jeremiah Love, there's some great Buckeye defensive players as well. So, I think we'll probably go best player available.
Awesome. When it comes to the NFC East, we got all sorts of teams in there. Which one do you like to beat the most?
Eagles.
Eagles!
I gotta say the Eagles, man. Their fans, they're very passionate. They can be a little rough, but there's nothing like going into Philly and getting a win because it's a tough environment. Dallas is very close second, though.
Come on. I'm a Steeler fan, so I like it when you guys beat the Cowboys. I'll say that. The Cowgirls, I should say. Anyways, Terry, you are one of the sharpest route runners in the league. You've made some dudes fall, broken some ankles. What's your favorite route to run?
I probably like to say a post corner.
Okay.
And so we call it like a shake route. And it's a double move, but a fast guy like myself, you have to respect if I run that post. And as soon as I see your hips turning as a DB, I break it off to the outside and that ball's on time.
See ya.
Chef's kiss.
That's awesome. Hey, you have to play against a bunch of tough corners in our league.
Yeah.
Of all the corners, which one do you have to tighten your shoelaces a little bit more on?
I'd probably say Patrick Surtain from Denver.
Yeah.
He's one of the best DBs in the league for a very long time. Very physical, fast, very long arms. It's a battle. So when we played Denver this year, him and I went at it a little bit, and it was a good time.
I'm thinking about a wide receiver running a slant, running into linebacker territory. You got to be thinking, like, here come the footsteps type of thing.
Yeah.
Is there a guy in the league that hits the hardest, in your opinion?
I would say my hardest hit was probably Devin White, linebacker. I think he's maybe in Vegas right now. When he was in Tampa, I caught like a screen pass, and he hit me. The hit wasn't bad. It's the way he fell on me. And I got up, and I thought my shoulder was out of place. I'm like, oh, my. But nowadays, these linebackers are running 4.4, so I'm going to try to make one guy miss, but if I see two guys, I'm probably going down. I live to see another play.
Hey, I know you're a competitive dog. Outside of yourself, who's the most competitive guy on the team?
I'd probably have to say Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Jaden is an unbelievable competitor. I don't care if we shooting hoops in the locker room. He wants to win everything.
I'll say this, he's looking pretty sharp today in the suit. He's looking fly, but I got to ask the question, in the locker room, besides yourself, Terry, who's the best dressed man?
Best dressed man. I probably have to say Laremy Tunzel. We just re-signed LT. And I don't think linemen, O-line, D-line get enough respect when it comes to their clothing. But LT kind of dresses as we call a small guy. So like the DBs, the receivers are kind of more, you're gonna put on all the swag and things like that. But LT could put it on. He could put some good fits together. So I say him.
Awesome. Hey, Coach Dan Quinn's changed the culture in the locker room.
100%.
If you could describe him in one word, what would it be?
Passionate. Everything he does it with passion. The way he coaches us on the field, the way he leads our team meetings each and every morning, the way he cares about the guys in the locker room, the relationship that he's built. He's passionate about everything, and he's truly a servant leader, which is great to have as your head coach.
Terry, favorite moment, favorite catch in your career thus far?
I'd probably have to say, so I'm from Indianapolis, grew up a Colts fan. We played them a few years back, yeah. I see a few out there. I made a catch back, I think it's 2022, basically a game-winning catch against Stephon Gilmore, one of the best corners to play the game. 2-minute drive, ball's up in the air, it's me versus him. I come down with it on the 1-yard line. I had 100 people at that game. So I had 100 people at that game, grew up in Indianapolis, and to make that catch in that moment to help win the game, I knew the Lord truly created that moment, not just for my team, but for me to experience that kind of joy and full circle moment.
Come on, man. This is a yes or yes question.
All right.
Are the Commanders winning the Super Bowl this year?
He paused.
See, I can't do that. I can't.
All right.
I'm the type of person where I don't like to make guarantees too early. What I will say is last year didn't go as we hoped. 2024 was awesome. We fell short. But there's something about when you get knocked down and coming back with a different type of hunger and a different type of confidence. And you can tell the front office is doing with their job to bring in the right pieces and players. And as a leader, I'm training my butt off to be ready when we come back in April to get things going. So I like where we're at going into this season. And if we can keep the injury bug away and build this team, I think there's no reason why we can't be competing in the end.
Come on, Terry, I know that these have just been some fun questions up front, but obviously our theme this year at Ignite is forged through the fire, rooted and anchored in Job 23, verse 10, but he knows the way that I take, and when he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. And so I want to go back in time and talk about your formative years here for a second, because you don't just become Mr. Football in the state of Indiana. You just don't become a star wide receiver at Ohio State and the Washington Commanders. There had to have been something that was just formed within you that's kind of into your DNA. I'm thinking about your parents, your family. Take us into the backwater of your story, if you would.
Yeah, so like I said, I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana. I have one sister. She's 28 years old. I'm 30. And my parents, Terry Sr. and Grace McLaurin, they raised us. Middle-class family growing up in Indianapolis. Both my parents, went to college and worked every single day. And I think that's the number one thing I took away from my growing up was seeing their work ethic and the way that they got up every single day, whether they felt like it or not, the sacrifices they made for my sister and I to have better opportunities than they had. They were both first generation college graduates. And so to set a platform to where now their kids were both fortunate to be college graduates and the work ethic that it takes to achieve anything in life has truly grounded me. And so when I approach things in life, I try to take a day one mentality, but also know that it's the endurance that wins the race. It's the knowing you're going to get knocked down. There's going to be some no's. There's going to be some not yets. There's going to be those moments where you may question, is this for me? But the persistence in that work ethic is always going to be the anchor that allows you to see the other side until you get to that destination. And so that's the number one thing I take away from my parents is their work ethic and their passion for continuing to better themselves and their family. And that's something that I will forever live with me.
Come on. Yeah, in this life, you're going to experience different trials. You've told a story before about even though you're an amazing athlete, being cut from I think, a baseball team.
Yeah.
Can you share that story, how your parents got involved, how you were resilient beyond that?
Yeah, that was my first, I would say, rejection in life that I experienced. I grew up playing football, baseball, basketball, played all three sports. But when I got to high school, first of all, I was like 5'4", 125 pounds. So for all you guys are out there, or maybe young men who are hearing me, just continue to be patient, eat your vegetables, and you have a chance to continue to grow. But yeah, I love baseball, and I tried out for the freshman baseball team. And I was the fastest guy on the team. I'm like, okay, I may not hit the best, but I can steal a few bases. You know what I mean? You can throw me out there. But so we were on the last practice, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It was me and another one of my friends. We get called into the coach's office separately. But he says, hey, Terry, the coach at the time, we don't think your bat speed and your mechanics are what we're looking for at this level. I think that it would be best if you maybe pivot and you're not going to make the team. And my heart dropped in that moment because that was the first time that I'd really been told no in sports. The Lord blessed me immensely with a lot of skills and talents. And so I was fortunate to be one of the better players on each team that I played on growing up. And so getting to a space where I was really excited to step into this new journey of high school baseball and to be told that you're cut from the team, not only the embarrassment that I felt, you're not making the team. Everybody knows you're trying out. You're Terry McLaurin. How do you know what I mean? So I felt that a little identity hit at that time. And I remember coming home, and my mom's laying on the bed, and I'm go, well, she's excited to hear the news. I'm like, well, I just got cut from the baseball team, and I think I'm down to my last strike. She's like, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, well, I kind of gave up basketball because I don't think any of us see any 5'4" guards in the NBA, so I had kind of given that up and lost the love for basketball. Football was still my number one sport, but baseball was essentially kind of being taken away from me. And I said, I'm down to my last strike, meaning football. And she said, well, it's your best sport. It's your best opportunity. And I'm gonna be here for you, and I'm gonna help you get through this. And what that moment taught me, a no doesn't mean a no all the time. It's sometimes a not yet. A no is often a time where the Lord is pivoting you into a better direction. I truly feel like if I didn't put all my focus into football at that moment, I don't know if I'd be sitting here. Because in that next year, I not only grew 8 inches, but I gained 50 pounds from my training. And I started to see myself come into my own as a football player. And being cut allowed me to experience for the first time not quote unquote being good enough. But it also taught me that my identity is not wrapped in being told no. That although I may not have fit that team, that coach, that situation, there's moments that God had for me in my future that I was going to get that yes. I was going to be validated. So I don't regret that moment at all. It's honestly one of the turning points in my life early on, because it allowed me to experience the world's version of rejection, but it recentered me into a different passion that allowed me to take that chip on my shoulder and direct it in a positive light.
Wow, you talk about God's delay is not his denial. Sometimes it's just his divine redirection. And God redirects you into the sport of football, which you kind of centered on, and clearly you're continuing to live out that passion and that calling today. But you get called to go to The Ohio State University, and man, you had some dudes around you, because if I'm not mistaken, I read about it, I think you waited 2 or 3 years before you really broke into the mold. And sometimes, Terry, that's a long wait. There's some dudes who would easily give up in the midst of that, or just kind of dip out rather than dig in. Yes. How did you learn in the patient and in the waiting seasons of life not to waste that wait?
I think what you just said is true, is the waiting season. And I know I've experienced in my life where it's been tough for me to wait, because I feel like I'm so deserving of this opportunity or this chance to play at Ohio State at that moment. Yeah. Or I put in so much time and work and effort like my peers, and it seems like they're getting the yes, they're getting the benefits, and I'm not. Yeah. Knowing that I feel like I'm deserving and worthy and put
in. You were Mr. Football.
100%. And when you go to a program like Ohio State, everybody was Mr. Football. Everybody was the best in their region, their state. And so my time at Ohio State really honed my work ethic, and it honed my confidence, because it forced me to redshirt my freshman year, which means you don't play, you don't travel. So I was basically the scout time receiver each and every week. And when they would go to away games, I'd clean my dorm and hang out and eat a little bit. And but during that year of development, I really got to focus on myself. I knew my ball skills weren't quite the best. I knew I had to get stronger and faster. So it allowed me to really take the time to pour into what's going to help me be prepared for when I'm ready to step into that role. And I think that was another divine way of the Lord saying, not yet. I have something greater for you, but you're not ready yet. And what I've learned through those times, countless, that we're going to continue to go over, those countless times of not yet, I know for a fact, living here 30 years now, that every time I'm delayed, I get excited, because I know God has something better than I may have planned or thought for myself. And he's just trying to make sure that I'm ready for that. Because sometimes if we get what we want earlier or before we're ready for it, when we step into that season of our lives, we'll fumble it away. We may screw it up. We may not maximize in the way the Lord allowed. And so I've learned through those times in college and high school and even my experience in the NFL, that those not yets are times to continue to grow and continue to lean into the Lord, and he's preparing you in a way that you could be ready for those moments. So I didn't start till really my 4th year, and my best year was my 5th year. And I got to a point where I was like, man, is football even for me? Like, is my NFL dream even going to come true? I had doubts. I had a lot of doubts. And, my dad always told me, I'll never forget this. He told me, the Lord is building you differently. He's building you in a way that's going to allow you to be prepared for what you're dreaming and what you're preparing for. And when you're going against, you got guys like Ezekiel Elliott, Curtis Samuel, Michael Thomas. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There's only one ball that could go around, too. And so it allowed me to also step into a servant role. I was fortunate to be a 2-time captain during my time there, and it allowed me to serve in a different way and see my leadership come to light, and to notice that the Lord had not only given me the gifts and the talents to be a tremendous football player, but he gave me leadership and leadership and development skills as well to help the guys on my team.
I love that. Let's transition into from the Ohio State to the Washington Redskins at the time, then football team, now Commanders. Draft night, 2019.
Yeah.
What was that like? What were you anticipating? How are the nerves? Just give us a brief peek into your life there.
Draft night was wild, honestly. You know, I had heard from my agent and other pundits that I could possibly go from the first round to the third round. Now, coming out of Ohio State, I only had 33 catches my last year. I led the country in yards per catch, but I was very fortunate that Lord allowed me to have an opportunity to go to the Senior Bowl, which is the highest honor you can have as a senior football player, to come to Mobile, Alabama, and compete against the other great seniors, NFL prospects. And I did really well at that camp. I got invited to the combine, ran a 4.35, did all the testing and things like that, did really well. And so I worked my way up into really the first 3 rounds. I went from being undrafted. I went from being someone who may not even make it to the NFL. That's the reason why I came back my 5th year, to be able to have another year of development, to be prepared for my dream. And so draft night, you know, I knew I wasn't probably going in the first round. So first round, I believe, is Thursday or Friday. And then rounds 2 and 3 are the next day 2. So I watched the first round with my parents and my girlfriend, who's now my wife. And just watching the names go by. And day 2 came around, so we had a nice celebration at my house. My mom set up everything, and I had my closest friends and family come there. And you don't have no clue where you're going. Like,
right.
No, you really don't. I mean, I got interviewed by the Redskins at the time, one time, during the whole process. So I'm like, okay, they didn't bring me in for a visit. I don't know if I'm gonna get drafted there. So, quick funny story. One of my good friends, he's coming to the celebration we're having, and he's running a little late. So we're probably halfway through the third round, and I think Green Bay is on the clock. So everybody's watching the TVs. All the TVs are on the clock, and I get a call. If for anybody who doesn't know, you're supposed to keep your phone open. Like, nobody's supposed to be calling you. You're supposed to keep it open for NFL teams. So I get a call, and it's my friend, and I'm like, hey, bro, like. He's like, yeah, I'm parked down the street. Like, how do I get to your house? I'm like, bro, I gotta keep this line open. The team's gonna be calling me. So I go outside to take the call, right? So I come back in. Everybody's at my doorway like, are you a Packer? Are you a Packer? I'm like, nah, it was just Terrell May, my friend. And everybody's like, you know, like, that's how intense it is. Every single call, waking moment is just like, you know, but I get this call, 202 area code, so it's DC, and it's Jay Gruden. He was like, hey, you know, we want to draft you with our 3rd round pick. We want to pair you with Dwayne Haskins, and, you know, we're ready for you to be a Redskin. And just tears, like, I get emotional right now, just tears knowing that all those moments that I'd waited for, prayed for, dreamed of, oftentimes had doubts that would happen. At that moment, when you hear your name called, nothing else matters, because you know your foot is in the door. And that's all I've ever asked for in my entire life, is an opportunity to compete, an opportunity to have my foot in the door. Because, again, my work ethic, the Lord has blessed me with a work ethic where I know I'm going to outwork most of the people I compete against. I just wanted the opportunity to be an NFL player. And try not to get too long-winded, but they drafted me to be a special teams player.
Wow.
I was the #1 special teams player coming out of the draft because of my ability to chase down on punt team and be a gunner. One ball could go around. I didn't really have a lot of stats. But I get there, and I'm running on special teams. And a week before the first game of the season, there's like cuts. And a few of our receivers get cut. And I go to the special teams board looking to where my name is for practice. I don't see my name. I'm like, oh, I'm cut. Like, nothing's guaranteed in the league. Like, even as a third-round pick, you may get guaranteed 1 year. That's it. But you can still get cut if you're not performing. And I go to the coach, I'm like, yo, I'm not on the special team. I'm starting on every special team. Why am I not there? And he said, I need you to go talk to the head coach. So I talked to Jay Gruden. He was like, yeah, you're going to be the starting X receiver.
Wow.
Huh? Me? I just came from Ohio State, and I was probably the fourth receiver. Wow. You're telling me I'm coming to an NFL team where you guys drafted me to be a special teams guy only, and hopefully I could be a receiver. And you're telling me I'm about to be the starting receiver for an NFL team, and we play the Eagles in 2 weeks. Got it. It was unbelievable. But in that moment, that validation that I got from the Lord, it was everything for me, because I knew this was the moment he curated for me. All those not yets, all those no's, all those times in the moments I was working in the indoor where nobody was looking, catching hundreds of balls a day, running routes, time and time again, and seeing no reward in that moment. I think it reminds me of Galatians 6:9. Do not get tired of doing good, for in due season you will reap a harvest. I read that verse over my life constantly, because oftentimes we could get discouraged because the work that we're putting in, we're not seeing the fruits of that yet. But in that verse is truly depicted of what discipline and hard work consistently, no matter what your surroundings look like, there will be an opportunity for you to step in and be ready. Yes. And I think I carry that tremendously now, because every moment that I walk into, I know I'm prepared for, because I've been waiting and working for that moment. So I just had to share that background of how the draft night went. So Washington calls me, tears, everybody's happy. And it was the best day of my life, because I truly was able to say that I was drafted to the NFL, and my dream was coming true.
I believe this about you, Terry, that it's our preparation in times of peace that's the greatest predictor of our behavior in times of war. That's what I shared last night. Preparation predicts performance, especially in the midst of our pain. And God is doing something special through you throughout your career. You're incredibly gifted. You're incredibly talented. God is using football as a platform for you to continue to be unashamed about the gospel. But you haven't been a stranger to suffering in the NFL.
Yes.
I think about just the mental health advocate that you are, just your openness to be vulnerable, to have other men to ask for help. I think about the loss of a brother in Dwayne Haskins. You brought him up. I think about injury and coming back from injury, so many different hardships. What I would just love to pose a question for you, Terry, is in our moments of powerlessness, I believe that God draws us closer to and reveals the character of his heart the most. What has God revealed to you in the midst of these challenging times that you've even faced here recently?
The Lord has shown me that he will never leave nor forsake me. And he's the same God that was with me when I got cut in high school. He's the same God that was with me when I broke records for Washington. And he's the same God who's with me right now, where I'm walking into a new season of my life as a husband, as an 8th-year NFL vet. So God doesn't change. His constant love and mercy is forever chasing me down. And for a lot of my life, I've been saved since I was 14 years old. And for a lot of my life, I knew that God died for my sins. Jesus died for my sins, and he was raised from the dead, and I now have salvation. But my life didn't look like a Christian. This consistency of what I was doing and saying did not look like that. And so what he's shown me is he is going to continually be my biggest advocate. When I mess up, I run to him for repentance. I run to his love, because oftentimes I tried to hide. And I knew that at the time. I didn't know that, but now I know that is the enemy trying to separate me from the Lord. He's trying to keep me in bondage through my shame. He wants to bring up those difficult moments where I fell short, where I said I wasn't going to do that thing that I said I wasn't going to do, but I did it again. He tries to hold me convicted in those moments so I don't seek the Father's face. And so now in these moments of trial, now in these moments of difficulty, after this last season, tearing my quad off the bone and getting hundreds of cc's drained out of my leg for a month straight, I learned real surrender. I learned that control comes in the form of worry. And I have been still struggle with worrying, because I don't know how that next moment's gonna work out. I don't know is God with me? Am I gonna make it through? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
He never changes. You never have to earn his love. And I think that's very counterintuitive to how we are as athletes, because we are judged by our performance. Our validity, our worth sometimes come from our contracts, our stats. But with God, you don't have to earn that.
Come on.
It's freely given to you.
Amen.
And so is repentance.
Yes. Yes. Terry, I know we're fighting the clock here, man, but how I really want to wrap up, I'm just thinking of Job chapter 42, verse 5. It said, I'd only heard of you with my ears up to this point, but now I have seen you with my eyes. God has clearly made himself evident in and throughout the different steps of your life. And I'm just thinking about one final word to the men in this room who are gonna leave here, and hopefully they're feeling ignited, but they're gonna go back home as husbands, right?
Yes.
Year of marriage, is that correct? Your wife, Caitlin?
Yes, sir.
God's doing an amazing thing through you as a husband. I'm thinking about the fathers in the room. I'm just thinking about men that are going back home into the midst of the battle and the fight. I think 3 of the most dangerous words that they could say or believe are, I got this.
Yes.
We need
Yes.
brothers. We need friends for the fire. We need to have a deepened relationship with God. What's a final word of hope, encouragement, and motivation for this group of men?
Community is extremely important. Having someone that can help disciple you, having someone that can help hear what you're going through, having someone that can help you create a life for yourself that is reflective of the Lord. And I have a mentor of mine, Pastor Brett Fuller, who is pastor of Grace Covenant Church in Chantilly. And he's been our chaplain for the Commanders for an extremely long time. And he discipled me since my first day walking in there. And what's so ironic, it didn't catch God by surprise. I truly believe I came to Washington sure to be a really good football player to make an impact in my community. But in Washington is where I found my true identity in Christ, through discipleship, through a church home, through someone who loved me and cared for me when I didn't love and care for myself in a lot of the times. And I felt like my validation came from what I can prove and what I can do in football. And I felt like I was a people pleaser, still can be at sometimes. I'm still working through that. But knowing my validation doesn't come from man, it comes from the Lord. And seeing what my identity is in him has truly freed me up to step into a place of confidence in my life, to where, I'm not gonna lie to any of you guys in here, this would have terrified me 2 or 3 years ago. Like genuinely standing up here, sitting up here and sharing my testimony, sharing what God has done in my life, because I felt so unworthy. I felt so broken. I felt like I didn't deserve to be able to speak on these topics, because I struggle with these same sinful desires. I struggle with these same convictions. And what the Lord does, he treats us so much different than man. Sometimes people can, break our heart. People that we trust and love turn their back on us, and we're left picking up the pieces. But when you put your faith and hope in the Lord, he puts those pieces back together. And not only that, he builds you greater, stronger, and better for his will and to further his kingdom, because you sought him. And so what I've truly learned over this past year, honestly, through marriage, through my injury, through contract negotiations, is true surrender. And surrender looks like knowing that the same Lord that brought you through the last moment that you didn't think you were gonna make it through, he's the same God who's with you in the moment that you find yourself up against now.
Come on.
And that community that you have is extremely important. And one thing my pastor and mentor says is, read your Bible every day. And the reason why I feel like that is so important, and I still fall short, but because of culture, because of the world that we live in, social media, there's so many ravaging thoughts and processes throughout this life that we're up against, challenges as men, as husbands, as fathers, as friends. We have to have something that actively combats those negative thoughts of the enemy.
Yes.
Those strongholds that are on our mind, those traumas that we've been through. The Lord will break those chains if you submit your life and your ways to his. So come to him as if you're talking to your brother. Lord, I'm broken right now. Lord, I'm hurting. Like, Lord wants that kind of relationship with us. Whereas man, he won't treat us like man. Man was like, you're too broken. I've done enough with you. God brings you in every single time. His love is so deep and so wide that we can't measure it. It stretches from the east to the west. And when we're in a moment of true surrender, we see his glory in a way that you've never seen before. But it also means that we need community, other men and women in our lives that can help us get to the moments that we never thought we could get to. My friend told me, you show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And so my dad was a great example of how to be a husband, but also my pastor is a great example to be a husband and a father and a man in his community. And so I try to surround myself with men who are not only challenging me and making me better, but help me emulate the image of Christ. And knowing that we're gonna fall short because we're sinners, but the love of Christ can continue to cover any sin and any wrongdoing that we've ever done, and he welcomes us with open arms each and every time. We have to run to him. Try not to hide in your shame and think that you've fallen off so far that God can't pick you up. He can pick you up every single time, and you could come exactly as you are. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have every perfect word and perfect saying and know every single Bible verse. You have a love for Christ. You know that he died for you. You know that you're going to heaven, and you want a life that is better than a life that you could ever imagine. And he is there for you. So that's what I would say. Continue to be hopeful and confident. Lean on other believers and bring someone along with you. You don't have to know every Bible verse. You don't have to have the perfect words. Your testimony is enough. What you've been through in your life is enough. The story of what God has brought you through any trial and struggle is enough. And so I encourage everybody in here to share that, because sitting here 2 or 3 years ago, I would have been riddled with fear and anxiety, which I know comes from the enemy. He wants to hold you in bondage of that fear because he knows the calling that the Lord has in each and every one of your lives in here. And his objective is to keep you separated from him, to keep you strapped in that bondage. So continue to seek his face, continue to know it's a journey, and truly pray for that endurance, because that's what we all truly need, is that endurance to be able to go through the struggles and this trial of this life, but know glory is on the other side, where these bodies that are just vessels will be long gone in the ground, and our spirits are the ones that are going to be living on praising him. So that's what I would say.
Fantastic. Hosea chapter 2. Hosea 2 says this, that even in the valley of Achor, even in the valley of suffering, when we return to the Lord, a door of hope will be opened wide unto us. What I hear from Scary Terry is return to the Lord and bring somebody with you. Terry, I just got to ask, do you have an arm? Because we got some footballs that we would like for you to throw out.
I'm going to have to take this suit jacket off.
Come on. Let's see it.
On your feet.